afternoon in Los Angeles, where for the first time ever, the NFL will have a playoff game on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. For the visiting Cardinals, QB1 Kyler Murray makes his postseason debut against all-world defender Aaron Donald and the star-studded LA Rams.
What makes a moment or a man a classic? Becoming one of a kind in the time we have.
That's life.
That's life.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May.
Chances, as Lady Luck would have it, are rare.
I said that's life.
So when they come, like tonight, you gotta take them.
I just pick myself up and get back in the race.
Yeah, we're all on a one-way trip. But you can rise above the ride.
Many times I thought of cutting out, but my heart won't buy it.
Now, there's only one question to ask. And it's a classic. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for some football? My. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood plays host to its first ever NFL playoff game. 27 days later, the Super Bowl, as we welcome you to the progressive wild card kickoff. Is there a quarterback under more pressure to win right now than LA's Matthew Stafford? And you try and keep JJ off the field tonight. The remarkable Watt is a full go for the Cards this evening. As are we. The winner goes to Tampa next Sunday afternoon. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to the first ever Monday Night Football playoff game. With Louis Riddick, Brian Greasy, I'm Steve Levy. Since the start of the season, no NFL team is more all-in than the LA Rams. That started with the acquisition of Matthew Stafford, who has thrown more touchdown passes without winning a playoff game than any other quarterback in NFL history. Lewis, he wants off of that list.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Look, he had 3 playoff games in the 12 years that he spent in Detroit, and we all know he was 0-3 in those times. And look, he has been one of those players who the narrative surrounding his entire career has been wonderful physical gifts, great individual talent. He can't be a force multiplier. He can't make everyone else better around him. Well, Sean McVay says, hey, how about this? I'll trade away the guy who took me to a Super Bowl, and I'm going to give up 2 number 1 picks and a number 3 pick for this guy who I believe is the difference. Tonight he has the stage. Tonight he has the bright lights. Tonight he has the whole world's attention. Let's just see what he does with it.
Yeah, and listen, he can't do it under complete pressure. He can't do it by himself. We're not going to come on the air tonight and not talk about the best player on the planet. That's Aaron Donald. And this man completely wrecked the game when these two teams played early. He had 3 sacks, a tipped interception, and tonight he starts his journey towards the only thing missing on his resume, which is that Lombardi Trophy. Speaking of Lombardi trophies, that's a man right there that knows a lot about playoff performances. The Super Bowl 50 MVP, Von Miller, was brought here for games like this to chase after guys like Kyler Murray in this division. If the Rams are going to win tonight, yes, Matthew Stafford has to play well, but it will be that defensive line and how well they play.
Von said it's like a Pro Bowl around here, presumably not talking about the tackling tonight, talking about all the all-stars that are out on the field. That includes Kyler Murray. He's got all the individual accolades, won the Rookie of the Year. He's going to the Pro Bowl every year now, but time for a team victory. Head coach Cliff Kingsbury said this week he expects to see Kyler's best game as a pro.
And I think he's going to need to do that. You know, hands down, this is one of the most exciting players in the National Football League, and he does things at the quarterback position we have never seen before. But it has been streaky, and too much streaky as of late. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Kyler has to play well tonight. He can't turn the ball over. He had 2 interceptions when they played but he has to depend on that running game. James Conner's going to be a factor tonight, as well as Zach Ertz in a pass.
Yeah, speaking of a quarterback who needs help and needs everyone else to play around him much better, this is a guy who you see on your screen right now who's going to provide that help to Kyler Murray. J.J. Watt, one of the most feared players in the league at one time. He's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald, as much as I love him, isn't the only one who's ever done it. And J.J. is coming back from an injury. I can tell you what, when he was telling us about it, it just made you cringe at the kind of perseverance and resilience this guy has. It needs to spill out into the rest of the team tonight if they have a chance to win this game.
Cards are very comfortable on the road. They went 8-1 this season away from home, the best in the NFL. Lisa Salters is up next. Then it's the Cardinals and Rams with a trip to Tampa next weekend on the line on Monday Night Football, the playoff edition.
Here we go. Everybody should be
I
excited.
know it's going to be fun.
What a game. Never a dull moment. We're going to have a hell of a good time here tonight. Back in LA for the Super Wild Card Weekend finale. Could have some unlikely heroes tonight with players suiting up who were not expected to even be in the building. Down to Lisa Salters.
Steve, there are several wild cards on these two rosters tonight. Players coming back from major injuries much sooner than anyone ever thought they could. And in the case of Rams safety Eric Weddle, last week he was retired. Tonight, he's suiting up for the postseason. Weddle retired after his 2019 season with LA and told me this week that he thought his playing days were absolutely over, and yet here he is in a Rams uniform again, set to play in his 10th career playoff game. Because of injuries for the Rams at safety, LA gave Weddle a call on Tuesday and asked the 6-time Pro Bowler if he was still in shape. Weddle said yes, jumped in his car, drove up from San Diego, was at the Rams facility in time for work the next morning, and says he's ready to play however much his team needs tonight. Rams running back Cam Akers returned to limited action last week, just 6 months after he tore his right Achilles before training camp in July. He wasn't expected to play at all this season. Akers got 13 snaps last Sunday against the 49ers, a test run for tonight, he said, and he expects to be used much more in this game. And then there's the king of the improbable comebacks. J.J. Watt is playing tonight just 10 weeks after having his left shoulder surgically rebuilt. Watt told us he's not going to overdo it tonight, but has no concerns about how the shoulder will hold up. He said it's been tested in the weight room and on the practice field this week. He's fully confident in it and ready to roll. Steve?
Okay, Lise, from Weddle to Watt, this has the makings of a wild night. You've been watching the progressive wild card kickoff. Cardinals Rams on ESPN and ABC is coming up next. And Peyton and Eli on ESPN2 after these messages.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Arizona Cardinals battle Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. It's the grand finale of Super Wild Card Weekend on Monday Night Football.
SoFi Stadium in Hollywood Park, just 12 miles from Hollywood. As you would expect, celebrities, the A-listers in the house, like Will Ferrell. It's Mia Hamm. Omar's got to be nearby. There he is. Garcia Parra. Sugar Ray in the house tonight. There we go. And Gabby and Dwayne. Thought they were on Kiss Cam for a second. That's them, not us. We said the Cardinals struggled down the stretch, right? I mean, they had a 2-game lead in the West with 5 to play. and they lost 4 of the 5. How about the impact coming into this one?
Yeah, certainly they've got to get their mojo back, and they lost last week against Seattle. It didn't look good, but they had a lot of injuries defensively. I expect a much more spirited attempt from them on the defensive side in particular.
Yeah, look, I think the Cardinals right now, the return of J.J. Watt, I cannot emphasize enough how important that is just from a professionalism perspective. And that's not to say they didn't have great leadership already. Rodney Hudson, A.J. Green, all those guys were brought in here by Steve Keim for that. But I'll tell you what, look, J.J.'s different, man. He's different. To be playing tonight after his shoulder basically exploded, that's a different kind of dude. To be able to come out here and strap it up and play in a game of this magnitude, I expect him to really show up.
Then there are the Rams. They were coasting down the stretch until the finale. Had the 2 seed locked up, then they blow a 17-3 halftime lead. They wound up in the 4 spot. They still win the division, but that's a very quiet championship division room after that game.
Yeah, and that was a gut punch. That's their rival, the 49ers, and the way that they lost that game, giving it up at the end. Matthew Stafford has confidence in their response tonight. They have to come out and run the football. It cannot be dropped back 45 times for Matthew Stafford. They have got to get that run game going, and if they get up, that's when they can have that pass rush start to tee off.
Yeah, they are much better. Since we last saw them, when we saw them in San Francisco, and San Francisco really put a beating on them up there at their home field, they really kind of revamped their offense. They really got Matthew under center a lot more, really emphasized the running game with Sony Michel, and now they look like a totally different type of offense.
NFC West division rivals meeting for the 3rd time this season. They split, each winning on the road. The Rams won the toss and have deferred. So the Cardinals will get the football first. That's Rondale Moore. How about the rookie out of Purdue? Good stare into his eyes. Matt Gay ready to kick it away. As we get ready, let's send it down on Michael Buffer. Michael Buffer. Ladies and gentlemen,
this is the NFL playoffs, and this is Monday Night Football. For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to rumble!
Seems opponent next Sunday. We're about to find out over the course of the next 3 hours who that'll be. Arizona or Los Angeles. Here comes Kyler Murray. Success this season against the Rams. The 2 meetings. Over 300 passing yards, 50 rush yards. He said, I've been preparing myself all week, telling myself to settle down, not make it bigger than what it is. It's football. To go out there and let it ride.